in a nation striving to overcome inequality, poverty, and unemployment. The Sustainable Development Goals Initiative, SDGi, has emerged as a beacon of collaboration and innovation. Launched in 2020, SDGi is a dynamic partnership between the Presidency of South Africa, the University of Pretoria, Stellenbosch University, and African Monitor, supported by German Development Cooperation through the Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit, GIZ. Its mission: to bridge the gap between scientific research and policymakers, while improving the institutional conditions for evidence-based policymaking.
This has been an interesting journey of positive, constructive collaboration, learning, and most importantly, real impact. The initiative, which is aimed at creating enabling structures and processes, improving system for integrating scientific research into policy processes.
I think it's a brilliant concept to link policy space with academia and parts of the civil society. We have a very, very committed political partner and brilliant implementing partners from the universities, from civil society, and it's just a privilege to work with these partners.
The other important part is that the initiative is in support of the priorities of government, and including also the call that was made by our Presidency's Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, that all our public policies should be evidence-based.
For 5 years, the partners, both visible and behind the scenes, have been committed to advance the collective goals of the initiative.
What drives my commitment to SDGi is its background, the Sustainable Development Goals, and also the policy-making processes.
For me, I think I would say it's how we've tried to refine how academia and policymakers can interact with each other. We've definitely not got everything right, but we've found a way that I think there's an idea of how we can go forward to improve.
Through the unique expertise of partners and their commitment, SDGi has made a significant impact within the policy-making space.
What I consider to be the most significant impact of the first phase of the SDGi, I think, was bringing to the fore the synthesis report that had been commissioned with academia that looked into the political and administrative interface as part of the efforts of strengthening state capacity and resolving those issues, which brought together the political leadership, academia, business, civil society to deliberate on this important matter.
For me, the biggest single point of impact of this initiative is the fact that universities, publicly funded universities, and government at the highest level have come together to ensure that evidence makes it into the policy-making process. In my view, this is a global best practice.
As the project transitions into the next phase, running from 2025 to 2028, partners shared their future aspirations and reflected on the requirements for the long-term success of evidence-based policymaking in South Africa.
A very important word that in my mind describes the next 3 years is institutionalization. We need to make sure that what we've learned in SDGi 1 gets firmly embedded into the architecture of policy or evidence-based policy transformation or evidence-informed policy transformation. So the architecture that we've designed in SDGi 1 now needs to mature.
So between now, 2025 and 2028, I think reflecting on what has happened in SDGi 1, for me the first one would be around including gender equality and social inclusion into how we are doing things. In as much as we have many policies in South Africa that speak about gender equality and social inclusion, but those aspects are not really included where you can see them reflected in policies. So I think the next 3 years is really a journey of bringing in nuances of vulnerable groups, nuances of groups that are marginalized sometimes and never get the opportunity to speak about policies, but also to reflect on the previous policies that we've done. Were they gender responsive enough? Were they inclusive enough in a way that reflects the lives and also builds on the lives of the people?
With regard to the other important aspect, it will be around processes, improving the socio-economic impact assessment steps, and also strengthening how we develop policies across government. So those are the important processes that we need to look for. And the last step is around systems, developing digital tools that will support policy making, and also coming up with systems that will help us to monitor our projects within the initiatives and also across all the partners that we have.
Well, it's all about sustainability. It's about institutionalization, which means for me the achievements of SDGi 1 to institutionalize, to bring it to the partners.
Well, I think what must happen is for us to meet all the set objectives and targets, especially on things that will take us closer to meeting the SDGs, as well as the National Development Plan targets, but more especially have the institutionalization of this work inside of government to ensure sustainability.
Now is the time to build on the learnings of the first phase of the initiative. Let's walk across the bridge we have built between scientific research and the policy space, and work towards strengthening our capacities, institutionalization, and sustainability, all in the name of advancing evidence-based policymaking for the realization of both national and global developmental agendas.